The second moto of the MXGP class at the Swiss Grand Prix brought with it a dramatic and deeply concerning moment for World Championship leader Tim Gajser. What was supposed to be a pivotal race to extend his lead in the standings turned into a nightmare, both competitively and in terms of rider safety. The crash that took Gajser out of contention didn't just shake the standings, it also reignited a much-needed conversation about the evolving dangers of modern track design in MXGP. Gajser arrived in Frauenfeld, leading the championship and looking strong. While Lucas Koenen stole the spotlight in the opening race with a dominant performance, Gajser still had a chance to challenge for the overall win in the second moto. But that chance was lost in a split second when he hit a bump on the edge of the circuit, lost control of his bike, and was violently thrown to the ground. The result was a dislocated shoulder and a controversial delay in receiving medical attention that saw Gajser left waiting over 30 minutes for full assistance. Fans, media, and riders were left stunned, wondering how a championship contender could be left in such a vulnerable state for so long. Visibly frustrated and in pain, Gajser didn't hold back in his post-race comments. "Our sport is dangerous enough," he said. "We don't need additional risks like these bumps right next to the track." The Slovenian star pointed directly at the design of the track as a key factor in the crash. Many of these modern circuits now use artificial bumps and mounds to mark track boundaries, features that can be hard to see and potentially treacherous if misjudged. Gajser argued that the bump which caused his crash had no business being in such a sensitive area and that a little more care and layout planning could have prevented the incident entirely. Backing Gajser was none other than Antonio Caroli, the 9-time world champion and a veteran voice in the paddock. Caroli took to social media to express his own frustration with the way track conditions have regressed over the years. "These kinds of tracks were fine 30 years ago," he said bluntly. "It's time the sport evolved, not just in speed, but in safety and maintenance between sessions." With his usual blend of honesty and sarcasm, Caroli's words only underscored how long-standing and unresolved these safety concerns have been. Thankfully, the initial medical assessment from the on-site clinic offered a sliver of good news. Gajser had not broken any bones. But the dislocated shoulder means an unknown period of recovery lies ahead, and it puts his title campaign in jeopardy. Whether he misses one round or several, it's clear this crash could prove to be a turning point in the 2025 MXGP season. Despite the setback, Gajser remains as determined as ever. "It's disappointing," he admitted, "but I'll do everything I can to be back on the bike as soon as possible. I'll be back, stronger than ever." The crash and its circumstances have done more than just shift the championship narrative. They've raised alarm bells. Once again, track safety is under a microscope. The question now is whether this incident will finally push the powers that be to take meaningful action before another rider pays an even steeper price. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic in East Rutherford, New Jersey, grit and determination were on full display from RJ Hampshire as the 250SX East Championship race continued to heat up. If there's one thing Hampshire has built his career on, it's his ability to persevere through pain, and this season has put that reputation to the test once again. Coming into 2024, Hampshire was dealing with a serious wrist injury suffered just before the AMA Pro Motocross Championship. After aggravating the injury during the offseason, he was forced to give up the #1W plate and switch back to number 24 in Supercross. His season started off shaky, including an 18th place finish in Tampa due to a crash and entanglement with a tough block. But RJ being RJ, he pushed through the pain and steadily climbed his way back into contention with finishes of 3rd, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 14th in the treacherous Foxborough mud, and 3rd. However, after last week's 3rd place finish in Philadelphia, Hampshire revealed he may have re-broken that same wrist. It would have been understandable for most riders to consider stepping back, but not Hampshire. Entering East Rutherford tied with Seth Hamaker for the red plate, RJ lined up once again, determined to fight through the pain for a shot at the title. Hampshire rode to a strong 2nd place finish behind Hamaker, and now sits just 3 points off the championship lead with 2 rounds to go, including the highly anticipated East/West showdown. After the race, RJ admitted it was one of his best performances of the season, despite what he suspects is a serious re-injury. "I feel good," he said. "This was definitely better than last weekend. I made improvements throughout the day. It was probably my best main event performance this year." Asked if the wrist was still bothering him, Hampshire gave a gritty answer that tells you everything you need to know about the Florida native. "I showed up with the red plate today, so you don't really feel pain. You just deal with it. We're 2 rounds from the end now. I still have a shot at this title, so I'm not going to let anything stop me. I'll deal with the wrist after the season. While Hampshire had originally planned to debut on the 450 this summer in pro motocross aboard a Husqvarna FC 450, the possibility of another surgery could push that plan back. Regardless of what happens next, one thing is for sure: RJ Hampshire will continue to give it everything he's got in his quest for that elusive 250 SX championship.